Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So we have my client today and she requested the style on the right and left hand side. So now we're going to be breaking this style down in today's video. Again, this series is the Something in the Water series. If you guys don't know what that is, it is a festival that Pharrell created in the Virginia Beach area, and I am doing my client's hair this week for that festival. It has passed already. However, I'm now featuring those videos. So the style that I showed previously is 4 braids, but they're crisscross. So of course I started off with my middle part. I ran through that because you guys already know that's what I'm gonna start with every time. So now I'm doing splitting that middle half into another half. So, it's 4 braids. So we're going to go ahead and split that one half of the head in half as well. And you got to make sure it's equal parts. So now what I'm doing is forming the sections of the braids right before they change over to the other side because they are crisscross. So we're going to put 2 parts in each section, and you're going to see how these parts line up in order for me to crisscross those braids. So now when I go over to the section closest to the ear, I'm just lining up the parts, and then the middle portion of this is going to be like a triangle. So be mindful of that when you are trying to recreate this style, is that middle section does turn out to kind of be like a triangle. I don't think that the point comes to a by the ear, it doesn't come to an exact point, but it kind of looks like a triangle. So now because the braid is starting close to her sideburns, that's where I'm going to start the braid going upwards. So I'm just forming out the braid with the jam. So I'm using a jam and I am creating a pathway for my braid with the hair. So if you guys see what I'm doing, especially in this section, I'm kind of making that curve because this braid is going to curve. It's going to go from the sideburns, go up into the other quadrant, and then curve around and fall back over onto the other side. So I kind of form that pathway with the hair by sleeking it on both sides with the jam to make that path for my braid. So now is when I'm starting to braid her hair down. And regular stitch braids, I'm adding a lot of hair in this because she does like the braids to be thicker. So and plus you have to also go off your client's hair. Even though she has a lot of nice full hair, it's not really thick to where I didn't need to add that much extension. So almost at every turn I'm kind of adding extensions in to make the braids fuller, like she likes it. Some of your clients might not want it that thick, so it's your preference or their preference of how thick they want it. Now that I've completed the first section in the first quadrant closest to the ear, I'm moving over to the second section, second quadrant. If you guys can follow my lead, I'm using words. So we're gonna curve this braid around within that quadrant. So you guys really have to pay attention to this and how I'm doing that. And that's why I use the sleeking method to kind of form a pathway for me so that I know, like, okay, I need to braid up into it and then I need to curve it back down so that I can come back over into the other side. And you guys are going to see how I am using triangular stitches in the inner part of it to curve that braid. So the stitches on the inside is smaller and the stitches on the outside are larger when doing this braid. So now that I've completed that turnaround, I'm going to jump back over into the first lane and finish off this braid. So I've jumped over now and I'm at the back, and what you're seeing me do is kind of push the hair from the nape out of the braid, because sometimes, it could be painful at the back if you're pulling too hard on the hair at the back. Most people are sensitive back there, so I tend to push those hair out or loosen it some once I get back there. And I didn't finish off that braid because we're going to make those end braids fluffy, so I just clipped them off midway through. I didn't finish off the tail of the braid, and I've jumped over now to my second braid. So be careful how you start. You want to remember how you start. You want to remember how much hair you added into this braid so that both sides are symmetrical. This is another symmetrical type of braid where, you know, it really depends. It looks better when it's symmetrical, and you can really, it could really be a dead giveaway if it's not symmetrical. So it's easy to find fault in braids like these because it just making sure that everything looks the same. So now that I've finished the first section of the second lane, I'm jumping over the first braid now, and I just braid out a little bit and just jump over naturally over the first braid. You don't really have to do too much. You don't have to like go into a whole plait. I just pretend I'm braiding, and you know, even though I'm not adding the hair while I'm doing it, I'm just pretending I'm braiding, and I just kind of jump over to the other section without even like doing too much. And then I'm going to curve this upward as well. Now you have this tiny, tiny section to play with. So you don't want to curve it down towards the ear too much. You kind of want to stay close to the second braid so that, you know, you don't have a weird or awkward braid if you went down too far in on that curve towards the ear. So now I've already jumped over to the second lane, and I'm going to finish off this braid. I'm just going to braid it down and then clip it off because, like I said, we're going to fluff the ends out. So please stay tuned if you want to see how I do that. And then I pretty much go on to the third lane closest to the middle, and you want to start there because you want to line your parts up with the braids you've already done. So that's what I'm doing. I've already split that half in half again, and now I'm making those parts in between, and I'm lining them up with the braids I've already done. So now I'm going to clip off the section I'm not going to braid right away. And, you know, I've already done that first braid because I've showed you guys before already. So now I'm just moving on to the last braid, and, you know, it's the same thing. I'm using my fingers to part and sleek to make things faster. And yeah, that's how you get that braid done. So I hope you guys were able to follow along. This style, it was really, really popular last summer, and I'm sure it's still going to be popular because people are still requesting it. I still see it on my For You pages all the time. So this is a popular style. So if you guys want to try this style out on someone, your kids, or, you know, yourself, whoever, I don't know about self, it's going to be pretty difficult to do it on yourself, but you know, if you guys want to try this out, this is how this style is done. Once you hit this section right here, just keep adding, keep pretending like you're braiding. Like I didn't switch up my fingers. I didn't switch up the direction my hands was going to jump over the first braid. I just kind of kept moving like I was still braiding until I could catch hair on the other side. So now I'm going to braid it down. And once I'm done braiding it down, then I'm going to go into the fluffing of the braids. So I've already fluffed out a couple of them, and now I'm gonna go into fluffing out the last two, and I clipped it off, and now I'm just pulling. So when I'm pulling, you guys, I'm not pulling the entire braid or the entire leg of the braid. I'm pulling little pieces within that leg on the outer side. So I'm not pulling the entire leg apart. I'm just kind of pulling the outside pieces just to fluff it out, and I braid it down some to so that it has some like strength to it. And then I go back in and I'm just tugging on the outer edge of the braid to make it loose and fluffy. We don't want it so loose that the hair comes apart in the style. We just kind of want it to look pretty and fluffy. And this is what she elected. The picture that I posted, the ends are completely different than this. She had some curls and stuff in it, but you know, she didn't want to do all that. So I decided let's just fluff the ends out because she really liked that big fluffy look. So that's what we're doing now. And then once I've finished fluffing the entire thing out, I kind of tie it off in a knot and then only dip the ends. I'm not dipping the entire braid. I'm only going to dip those little straggly pieces that I tied off, so that, you know, it would be really pointless to dip this entire braid, because then you would ruin the entire style. So I just dip those ends right there, and that's all you need. And you just go in and clip off the little pieces that you need to, you know, make it look nicer and more sleek. But this is the final look, you guys. She really liked the fluffy ends, so that's why we did it. You don't have to do those ends if you don't like them, but you know, this is what she liked, so that's what we did. And yeah, this is how you accomplish this style. So again, in the comments, tell me what you guys think. Don't forget to subscribe if you're not already subscribing. Turn on the notification bell, because I'm dropping these videos every day this week at 7:30. This is a new series. If you guys haven't watched my other series, go ahead and check those out. But I'm dropping a video of the something in the water braids every day this week. So stay tuned, and thank you for watching.